Back at 8:09 with fallout from a shocking crime in California. 17-year-old Chelsea King was raped and murdered in a San Diego area park, allegedly by a convicted sex offender. Now her parents are working to make sure what happened to their daughter never happens again. We're going to talk to them in just a moment, but first, here's NBC's Janet Shamlian.
The brutal rape and murder of high school senior Chelsea King sent shockwaves through her peaceful San Diego community. The 17-year-old's body was found in a shallow grave in a park where she'd gone for an after-school run. John Gardner, a registered sex offender who served 5 years for a previous molestation, is charged with Chelsea's murder. He's pleaded not guilty. And now newly released records reveal Gardner committed 7 parole violations, each of which could have sent him back to prison before Chelsea went missing. Among them, reports that in 2006, parole agents found Gardner was living close to an elementary school, had a MySpace account, and was caught smoking marijuana.
My personal promise to all the children, all the mothers, and all the fathers is that I will do all I can to protect other daughters and sons and other mothers and fathers from going through this incomparable nightmare that I'm walking through.
Brett and Kelly King have set aside their own impossible grief to become activists in hopes of reforming the laws governing sexual predators. Chelsea's law would send some child molesters to prison for life after a first offense and call for others to be on lifetime parole with electronic monitoring. It would also create safe zones for children that would be off limits to offenders, like the park where Chelsea disappeared. But how in such a cash-strapped state to pay for added supervision and more inmates when prisons are already jam-packed?
It doesn't matter how many laws you have if the judges, the prosecutors, the parole agents, and the cops aren't doing the job that they're charged with doing.
It may be an uphill battle, but the Kings have support for the climb. A bus full of friends left San Diego last night for a rally at the Capitol today, as an anguished mom and dad hope to honor their daughter's memory through change. For today, Janet Shamlian, NBC News, Sacramento.
Chelsea's parents, Brent and Kelly King, are with us now, along with their state assemblyman, Nathan Fletcher, who's announced Chelsea's law on Monday. Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Kelly, if I can start with you. Before we talk about Chelsea's law, it's only been about a month since you learned the tragic news about your daughter. How are you and your family holding up?
We're taking it moment by moment. Sometimes it's still surreal to us that she's not coming home. So we're doing the best we can. We're helping our son get through this as best he can, and just putting one foot in front of the other.
How is he dealing with it, Kelly?
He's lost his best friend. He's a 13-year-old boy. He and Chelsea were extremely close, and they truly were best friends. And his heart's broken. He's doing the best he can.
You know, Brent, as Janet Shamlian just pointed out in her piece, John Gardner, the man accused of killing your daughter, had served time in prison for molesting a 13-year-old girl, and once released, he violated his parole 7 times, which could have sent him back to prison if anybody had been paying attention. Do you feel, Brent, that this system failed you, failed your family, failed your daughter?
Yeah, absolutely. The system didn't just let a few cracks occur, it let a few holes occur. He should have never been on the streets in our community, ever.
Is that why you drafted Chelsea's law?
We drafted Chelsea's law because we don't want any child to go through what our daughter went through. We don't want any family to ever experience the pain we're experiencing.
Have you talked to anybody since all of this happened, Brent? I mean, in terms of the fact that this man did have these violations, parole violations, and nobody seemed to be paying attention. Have you gotten any feedback as to why that would happen?
I have not talked to anybody on the parole board or anything like that. No, but Assemblyman Fletcher has gotten very involved with us, helped us to get the governor to start talking and pressing some people. So we'll hear more.
Kelly, your husband compared your family's efforts to get Chelsea's law passed to running a race. He says, it's a race Kelly and I didn't choose to run in. We were selected to run in. Do you feel the same way about that?
I do. Chelsea, the type of girl that she was, she has this invincible spirit, and I think she knows and is guiding us through this this process, and is giving us the strength to run the race and to run it as long as she would, which would be forever until things change.
So let's talk about Chelsea's Law, and Assemblyman Fletcher, feel free to enter into the discussion here. Obviously, the law is designed to provide more harsher punishment for sex offenders in the state of California. What are the key components in this law?
Well, the law starts with the basic premise that someone who violently sexually assaults a child is not someone that we believe you can rehabilitate. And if you can't rehabilitate them, then the district attorneys need an option to lock them up for the rest of their life. So it's a life without parole option. So that's the first piece. The second piece is for sex offenders who target particularly young children that may not rise to the level of life without parole. That's someone that we need to keep an eye on, and we need to watch for the rest of their life, and that includes a lifetime parole and GPS monitoring. And then the third part is current law in California puts residency restrictions on where you can live. You can't live within 2,000 feet of a park. But there's nothing in the law that says that a convicted felony sex offender who's targeted a child can't go in that park all day long. And that's the creation of safe zones to bring some comfort, some level of assurance to parents that there's places they can go with their children where they're safe. And we think the combination of these three things will help fix this broken system in California and better protect our children, which is the primary responsibility of government.
Yeah, there are already sex offender laws on the books in California. Why not just enforce those?
Well, that's a part of what we're doing, and we've said throughout this process, this is a first step. There's better enforcement of existing laws. There's some gaps in the system, but in these instances, we've seen these three particular things that are glaringly obvious that need to be done. And so we're going to move forward with these while we continue to hold the parole system accountable, the correction system accountable, the Department of Mental Health. We've had a number of hearings, so it's a broad effort, and Chelsea's Law is one part of that.
Are you concerned that, given the fact that California is financially strapped right now, that this bill won't make it through the Appropriations Committee?
Well, it's going to be an uphill fight. I mean, I think a lot of us believe that public safety is the primary responsibility of government. This is the most important thing the state does. California still has $85 billion, and I think within that we can find enough money to protect our children from sexually violent predators. But we've committed to working to find, when the fiscal analysis of the bill is done, to working to find reforms within the system and cost offsets, because we are aware of the budget problems. It has to be the highest priority, but we're willing to try and find the money within the budget to pay for it.
Yeah, Brendan Kelly, if I can just, on a personal note, I think that you're both very brave. I don't know if I would have the strength to do what you are doing right now, because in a way, every day now you have to relive what happened to your daughter, and you have to think about that molester and other molesters like him. Where does that strength come from?
I think as a parent, when something like this happens, you're able to dig deeper than you yourself ever thought possible. We do this for Chelsea. We do this for every child out there. It's the least we can do, and it's the most we can do to protect our kids and to honor Chelsea's memory.
And you can also feel it inside of our community. There's a huge tipping point that's occurring right now in San Diego that you can just feel that enough's enough. We need to make some changes. And so they drive us too.
And I know that a lot of your supporters will be in Sacramento today for that rally to show how much they love you and Chelsea and support Chelsea's Law. Brendan Kelly King, thank you so much for joining us. Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher as well, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll be right back.